Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Marigold Manor. This morning, as I was getting ready for work, I started thinking about a comment that I get on my videos a lot, and that is just this idea of like how I created a soft life for myself. For those of you who have followed me from Feminine Fancy, I think that it's pretty apparent, this sort of shift, both in like my demeanor and also just in the kind of content that I create, that I really value a very restful and peaceful and soft life. And I know that this is kind of like a popular term that people are using these days to describe almost like a life of luxury, but that's not how I see it. I see a soft life as a life that has like the least amount of noise as possible. Noise from people, noise from media, noise from social media, like just the least amount of noise possible. That's my version of a soft life. But I get these comments all the time on this channel, especially on my Coastal Diary series, and I wanted to address them in this video and talk about how I created this softer life for myself and how you can do it as well if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling stressed out with like the state of the world. Like I understand, I've been there, I empathize, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I did in order to curate a softer, gentler life for myself, because it was very intentional. It doesn't come without sacrifice, but I think it's absolutely worth it. But before I do that, I have to say that, like, just so you guys know, okay? I know that we all know this deep down, but just so you guys know, the internet is incredibly curated. My videos are incredibly curated. I'm showing you the softest parts of my life. I'm showing you the most gentle parts of my life. And any creator that you admire for having a soft life or living a life that you desire, just know it is incredibly curated to elicit an emotion from you and to entertain you. That's what content creation is it's entertainment. So while I do value having a soft and gentle life, I also just want to pull down the curtain for a second and be like, yes, I do, but also like the camera angles that I'm choosing and the music that I'm choosing and everything that I'm deciding on, all these decisions that I'm making in my content are to heighten that feeling of soft living. So don't feel bad if you're watching me or you're watching other content creators and you're feeling like, why doesn't my life look like that? Our lives don't always look as perfect as we're trying to make them look online, okay? Just keep that in mind. With that being said though, there are some decisions that I did have to make in the last couple of years in order to create a softer and more gentle life for myself, because I just couldn't function the way that I was going. So I had to make a change. And these are some of the things that I did. The first thing that I did was I left the rat race and I redefined my idea of success. So I've talked about this on my other channel, on the Feminine Fancy, but where I live, especially in California, there is a very heavy culture of competition. There's a very heavy culture of who has the biggest house, who has the biggest ring on their finger, who has the best this or that, or who's making the most money in tech. Like, it's very stressful and it's very overwhelming. My husband and I, we were in it at one point. Like, we were very close to buying a house. We were like in that group, I guess I'll say. And I remember we were sitting outside of Fancy Cottage and we just had to make a decision of like, is this how we want to feel? Is this what we want to do? Do we want to be in this rat race in jobs that we don't really love in order to just, you know, have a house so that we can look like we have it all together? Like, is that what we want to do? And we both decided that it wasn't. We both decided that like we didn't want to be a part of the rat race, and we had to redefine what success meant for us. We like to go on walks in our neighborhood, and I remember we had one walk where we both established like, what does success mean to you? What does success mean to me? What does success mean to us as a couple? And figuring out what that definition was a big help, because if you define success as, oh, success is I have a large house, a big backyard, a pool, and all of that, then if you don't have those things, you're always gonna see yourself as not successful. And that's just like not great mentally. It's not great for your mental health, and it's not great for feeling like you have any value. Our value is in so much more than the things that we possess and the things that we can buy and afford. And I think that in society today, like those two things are kind of merge together, where it's like, oh, you only have value if you can afford X, Y, and Z thing. But redefining what success was for us and figuring out that success for us means being in good health. It means having good relationships with our family and friends, being in a job that we genuinely enjoy. And even if it doesn't pay as much as the 9-to-5 or the in-house job or whatever, if it's something that we love doing and if it's something that we really enjoy, that is what we consider success. So when it comes to having a softer life, it does come with the sacrifice, because it's not like I'm raking in the dollars working at a flower shop. We're gonna call a spade a spade. Like, I'm not out here, making a bunch of money as a florist or working in a flower shop, but it's something that I genuinely enjoy and I love being there. And that comes with the sacrifice of like, okay, well, right now in my life, that means that we don't have like the huge house. And that's a sacrifice that we were willing to take and we were willing to accept. I think that's why I'm so passionate about really curating this space and this apartment, because I think it's important that just because it's not a house doesn't mean that I can't make it beautiful and make it something that I love and where I want to be. Once I recognized that, okay, right now in my life, this isn't the season that we're going to be buying a house, then I want to make this feel as dreamy and whimsical and beautiful as humanly possible. Like, that's what I want to do. This is my version of success, being able to curate a space that I love and the space that I live in, and have a job that I love and have good relationships with my family and friends. Like, that's my definition of success. So switching that up and making that mindset shift has had a huge impact on how I've been able to create this soft, gentle, easeful life for myself. The next thing that I did is that I took time away from social media. I don't want to spend too much time on this because you guys already know, well, most of you probably already know, but I took a year off of social media, like, entirely. I wasn't posting, I wasn't going on social media, I had deleted my Instagram, like, I took down all my videos from my Feminine Fancy channel. Like, I was done. She was done. I think it's because, like, I just felt like it was too much noise. It was too many people's comments on my videos, too many views on videos, too many videos that I was watching and taking in. Like, it was just too much. And I think right now we're so inundated with noise coming from everywhere that, like, it's so rare to have a moment of silence. And a lot of people even feel uncomfortable in silence because we have so much noise all of the time. Taking that year off of social media and just being in the silence and reading so many of my books and getting back into blogging for fun. I have a secret Tumblr. Yes, I revamped my Tumblr account and I started blogging on Tumblr and just writing my feelings there from this anonymous Tumblr account. But doing that gave me so much of, like, life back into my soul. Like, it just made me feel like life was light again, life was airy again, and I didn't have all these trending noises and sounds and audios in my head 24/7. And it also helped me discover what I really wanted to create, like the type of content I really wanted to make. Because when I was creating on my other channel, yes, it was a huge channel and it had a lot of followers and a lot of engagement, and that is what most people would consider successful. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't creating what I wanted to create. What I wanted to create is what I do now here on Marigold Manor. I wanted to cook and bake and share recipes and lifestyle tips. That's what I wanted to do. And I don't think that I would have created this had I not taken that year off to just be like, you know what, it's okay. I know people are gonna think I'm crazy for walking away from this channel, but I need to take some time to reevaluate. And had I not done that, we would not have this platform. So I'm really grateful that I did do that. And I think part of having a softer life is leaning into those things that enrich your life and that rejuvenate you. And at the time, that channel wasn't doing that for me. And so I had to walk away from it in order to find the type of art that did do it for me. Also, if I hadn't left that, I would not have ended up working at the flower shop. I would not have ended up becoming a floral designer. So it all works out in the end, but But I definitely think that taking time away from social media and stepping away from, again, what other people would have considered something really successful, doing that allowed me to curate this much softer and honestly more enjoyable life. Also, I haven't done one of these like listicle videos in so long. I used to do these on the Feminine Fancy all the time and I haven't done one in forever. So this is giving me a little bit of nostalgia. The next one's a little harsh, but it had to be done, is I kind of just cut off toxic people. And I know, like, I don't want to get into too much therapy speak because I think a lot of times people get insulted if you say like, oh, just cut someone off. And I'm not that person. Like, I will give people so many opportunities, so many chances to be cool with me, but sometimes it gets to a point where you're like, you know what, this relationship is over. I actually talked about this in my Dark Side of Female Friendships video over on the Feminine Fancy, and it's just something that has to be done. And you just have to ask yourself, like, who are the people in my life that, like, after I hang out with them, I feel drained. After I hang out with them, I feel like uncomfortable, or being in their presence makes me feel uncomfortable. And sometimes it's a person who you used to feel very comfortable around and now you don't. And that's your body giving you signals and signs that maybe this isn't the person that you need to be spending your time with. I don't want to get too much into this one because I know that there are probably people in here who are parents, people in here who, you know, are estranged from family members. I am estranged from family members, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it has to happen in order for you to, again, quiet the noise. If you're constantly getting in fights with the same person, if you're constantly having issues with the same person, there's a really good chance that like you just don't work, you clash, whether it's on them, whether it's on you, it doesn't matter. Like something is not working. And at some point you have to ask yourself, how much longer am I gonna do this? How much longer am I going to put myself in this position to be unhappy and to not be the best version of myself? And that's something that I had to ask myself, and I had to decide, okay, this is painful, this hurts, I don't like the fact that this is how this relationship has gone, but it is what it is. And if I want to feel whole again, if I want to feel healthy mentally and emotionally again, then they've got to go, or this relationship has to go. And it's not easy, and I'm not saying that that's right for everybody, but it definitely had to happen for me. So I also started doing more of what feeds my soul, and I think that is what resonates so deeply with the Coastal Diaries series here on this channel, because I think you guys can see how rejuvenated I get when we when we go to the beach, like when we go to the coast, whether we're just driving along it, whether we're setting up a picnic and doing like spending time on the beach, or you know, whatever it is. I think you guys can tell I get very, very excited and very refreshed when I get to the water. Doing more of that, doing more of what feeds my soul, whether that is, you know, seeing my friends more often, or making flower arrangements just for fun, like, or spending time with my family, with my mom. It just like, it just makes you feel so good. It makes you feel like you can take a deep breath, like you can take an exhale. Life today is so fast-paced, it is so go, 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 and we don't often have the opportunity to do what feeds our souls. And I think that the same way that we have to feed ourselves intellectually and also physically, and you know, with the food we eat, we have to nourish ourselves, we also have to feed ourselves spiritually, and we have to feed our soul. And I think that like when you feel like overwhelmed with life and there's so much going on and everything feels so chaotic, it's because you're neglecting your soul, you're neglecting your spirit. So finding those things that really rejuvenate you and refresh you is a really, really great way to create a softer life for yourself. Finally, the last thing that I did in order to create a softer life for myself was that I chose a home that myself and my husband really loves. We were in the apartment hunt last summer, so this time last year, I think it was when we started looking at places to move. And you know, I catch a lot of strays. I catch a lot of flack for in my immediate circle for wanting a certain aesthetic in my home. I do. And I think that that is the silliest thing, because I think your home, like the way that your home looks, is so important to how you feel. When you walk in the doors of your home, you're supposed to take that exhale. You're supposed to feel like, oh, I'm in my sanctuary. And for me, I like a certain aesthetic. I like an antique apartment. I like a 1920s build. I like the charm of older buildings. And when my husband and I were looking for a new place last summer, there were people who were surprised that we were trying to move so soon after we had just moved. There were people who, you know, were kind of making comments about like, oh, you guys have to have X, Y, and Z thing. But like, honestly, why not? Why would I live somewhere that I don't like? Why? And I absolutely love my patrons for this, because as I was going through this process last year, so many of my patrons were so supportive. They were like, why would you stay somewhere you don't like? And I was like, beats me, I don't know. Your home is so important, and the way that you feel in your home is so important. And if that means that you want it to be like from a certain era, or you want it to have certain amenities, or you want it to look a certain way, like that's totally up to you. That is completely okay. And as long as you can afford it and you're not asking anyone to pay for it, I don't, you know, who cares what anyone else thinks? I think home is so important. Like there are just some pillars in my life that I find that I keep, that I uphold, that are very important to me, and how I feel in my home and the way that my home looks is one of those things. And because of that, I get so much joy from being in my apartment. Like I get so much joy when it's sunny and the sun is coming in and just creating this golden hue in the whole place. And I get so excited when we have friends over with all the redesign and makeover things that we're doing, because I love where we live and it's not perfect. There are things that could be better, but for the most part, like I really enjoy the home that we chose. And if anyone gives you any flack for like wanting things to look a certain way, you just send them my way, okay? And I will tell them off for you. No, but honestly, if anyone gives you a hard time for like wanting things to look a certain way or wanting things to feel a certain way, just ask yourself, like, do you want the life that they have? Do you want to live where they live? And if the answer is no, then you can take their advice or their suggestion with a grain of salt. Choosing a place that has charm, that has whimsy, that feels so homey like this one, that has helped me lean into some of those soft life activities that I love to do even more. Baking and homemaking and design. And I can say, because I've lived in a place that I didn't love, I can say that when you live somewhere that you really enjoy and you really like, you just want to pour so much of your love and time and attention to it because you appreciate it so much. So choosing a home that I really love and that my husband really loves in a location that we love, that's another decision that was difficult because, like I said, there were ops, but it was ultimately the best decision for us, and we have really enjoyed being here so far. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I plan on doing a few more of these like more chatty talks with you guys, because I have a few things that I want to talk about in regards to home and design and keeping your home alive and thriving and flourishing. Your home is a reflection of how you feel. And so if you can curate your home in a way that makes you feel good, then that will ultimately also help you feel like you're living a little bit softer of a life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. What are some things that you do in your life to create a softer life for yourself? I'd love to hear about it. And thank you guys so much for being subscribers, for watching the videos, and just for being so supportive. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.